Oh, welcome to MFCP Woodworking. Um, Normally I do an article and some accompanying video and maybe a slideshow on a Sunday. Today was a little bit different. Um, I wasn't able to do that partly because time constraints. I was able to set up the camera on kind of a makeshift tripod so that I could record my work, so you can see what I'm doing here. This is a job I'm working on. I have a friend who made an order and I needed to have that ready before next week. And Sunday is my good day to get all that kind of stuff done, especially since it's an item that I'd never made before. It's a gavel set with a base, handle, hammerhead, and I'm making it out of cherry wood. As you can see, cherry turns quite nicely. I made a lot of shavings. Made a lot of mistakes. I made some small mistakes. I made one big mistake. My handle design wasn't right, and I had to redo the handle. So the handle you see me working on in this video right here ended up on the burn pile because it's not good. It's not good enough. It didn't suit the head. Didn't connect well. The tenon didn't work out right, so I had to redo this, which I think was the smart thing to do. Just redo it. Don't try to fight it too much. It's a tough choice to make sometimes, but I wanted this to go well. I want the person who gets it to be very happy with it. And she's already seen a picture of it before the finishing's begun. We did start the pre-finish today. It's darkened up the wood a little bit. It really does look nice. I'm not ashamed of it. In fact, I'm quite proud of it. As you can see, I'm working there, making it round. I did have to do this in two parts because I had to run back to the inside to get some tools and take a look at the instructions, because the instructions are online. I can't have my computer out in the shop. So it's my interpretation of somebody else's design. I made it a little bit bigger in all dimensions, which I think, again, was a right choice. I didn't want something too tiny. I want something a little substantial. Only thing is the sound block I made a little bit lower down. I didn't think it needed to be quite as massive as they made it. That was the hardest part to make. As you see, I'm turning away at this, getting my spindle nice and round. This stuff works so nice. The way I prepared it is I actually cut off pieces with the chainsaw from a log and split it down, because I didn't want to have the middle, the pith of the wood right in the middle of this. I wanted this to be really good quality. I wanted it to look like quarter sawn or lumber that I had used. So basically I split it in half and cut it into pieces. I had to do that several times because I had trouble getting the right sizes. Fortunately, that left me enough pieces to remake the handle when the time came, and I didn't have to get the chainsaw out again, although I really got to bring that back in because it's outside yet. And I'm looking at this. I'm gonna get the other video started. Oh, it starts right up. Lovely. So there's probably a bit of a little lag in this. I'm probably not quite up to where the video is right now. The first thing I'm doing is measuring the length of the handle, the length of the what do you call it? The tenon in the end. I haven't remade a tenoning jig yet, so that's going to have to be redone, because I basically what I did was an old trick. You set up a adjustable wrench with the right size and use that to check your tenon to make sure it's the right thickness. I don't know if I show all that, but I I'm busy here turning the form. Biggest problem I had here was that I was sticking my tools in the wood shaving pail, and I made so much wood shaving that I couldn't do both, so I had to move the tools, otherwise I wouldn't be able to identify them anymore. Hard enough. I'm working with the parting tool right now. It's a little off camera, so you can't exactly see what I'm doing. The wood cuts like butter. It really is nice to work with. The end grain's hard to work with a little bit, but I found turning spindles and all here, this stuff really works really easily. Nice grain, nice texture to the wood, and the results are spectacular. One of my favorite woods to work with out of the bush here, black cherry. I'm slowly taking that tenon down to size. Made it a little bit too long because I ended up cutting it in half. I don't need it that long. And I didn't want to make a hole right through the gavel head. I wanted to look a little bit classy. So my apologies to anyone who was expecting another 2x4 turning thing today. This is a paying order. As someone who's trying to go into business for himself as a woodworker, I can't ignore those. I have to do them. I wanted to do it, and I'm really hoping the people who get it are going to be happy with it. A lot of work. It's a lot easier once you've made several of them. You know the pitfalls. You know what not to do. You know the design elements and stuff that are going to interfere with each other, which is where I got stuck. And this is coming along just nicely. The day started off rainy, so that limits what I can do as well. There was stuff I wanted to do on the table saw for a possible video, and I couldn't really do that because it was raining out. My table saw is outside, and I don't want to uncover it in that weather. It did clear off this afternoon. Well, clear off. It sunnied up for a bit. Looks like it's clouding over again. But we had some decent enough weather that things dried out a bit. And running back and forth between the house and doing some of this stuff wasn't an issue. It didn't get too wet. Handle design was kept fairly simple. I add some detail after the fact. What I did wrong is I made kind of an end right where it meets the block. You can see it. I'm working on the other end of it right now, but I'm running over there. At the top of the picture, you can see right by the tenon, there's a wide section there. That was a mistake. That design feature is not a bad feature, but it didn't fit with the rest of the project. So I ended up going to something more like what was showing on the website that I looked at. Because really, this is my own interpretation of it. I don't. I'm a nonconformist. I like to do things my own way. I wouldn't be happy with it if I didn't personalize it in some way, shape, or form. So I'm working with the skew here. I work a lot with the gouges. I work a lot with the skew. I'm getting better at quote-unquote riding the bevel with the gouges, especially when I'm working with a wood like this, because they're really taking off material quickly and efficiently and smoothly. Because I end up with a smooth finish. I don't really have to go with the super coarse sandpaper when I'm done. I can go right straight to 150, 180. And I get good results. Do a little more work there on the other end. I did sharpen the tools before I started, and it shows. I'm not struggling much with it, and I'm really piling up the shavings. The handle I made actually, it looked nice. I liked it. It's just that it didn't suit the rest of the project. And I'll learn as I go. So if I ever make one again, I'll know to do that differently. The sound block was probably the most difficult part to make. I don't show that on here. I don't regret that because this would have been miles long. I cut a slab of wood off of a log, and I managed to turn it between centers to get it kind of round and get kind of a tenon on the one end. I ended up changing the jaws of my chuck. Managed to mount it, turn the one side nice, and turn a nice indent in the bottom for accepting the other jaws. And then I flipped her over and I did the outside of it. I had a chip that I had to glue back into place, but overall she turned out just gorgeous. She's hollowed out, makes a good sound when you smack it with the gavel, which is where a lot of your sound is generated. It comes more from the bass than it does from the gavel itself. It just don't have real good equipment for doing that. I'm not sure I'd be too quick to accept another order of these, especially considering how long it took me, although the next one probably go a lot faster. Now that I have a better idea of what I'm doing, I also make sure next time that I have a tenoning jig ready. That way I can test my tenons and get them the right size. First try. Don't have to make a second handle. That'll save me a lot of time. With the machine stopped, you can see the grain. The grain on this is just beautiful. It's got a reddish hue to it. Darkens right up in sunlight. You have to be careful with cherry because it's light sensitive. If you leave it in the sun or even under regular lighting, it'll darken up. And if you leave anything on top of it, you'll see the shadow of it afterwards, and it's almost impossible to sand out. But I like the darker color anyway, so I just make sure that it's not interfered with. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I like how it looks. I'm getting towards the end of this video. I am going to post it to the MFCP woodworking site. I've done most of my other test ones like this on Pico Triano, which is more of a test personal site. You could subscribe there if you wanted to, but I would rather people pay more attention to this one where I'm trying to do a more professional job. The work is enjoyable, and I hope you're ready for this stuff next time around. Thanks for watching.